The thing that is most misunderstood about sports radio is its function. It's not that you're supposed to look. There are shifts, there are day parts where if you want to get into the minutia, if you want to talk about cycling and what they do on special teams and all the other things that go into it, all the details that go into being an NHL team, there are shifts for that. There are hours of that. That's not what a morning show does. That's what a morning show isn't supposed to. I'm supposed to call someone or bring the coach on who will explain those moves. I bring the general manager on. I can bring on one of the players. This is what hosting a morning show does. I'm hard pressed to think that going to work for a job that you hate, for a boss who sucks, for you getting yelled at every day and maybe not getting the money that's worth it to you. Maybe you have a hard day where you're outside every day. Hey, there's a lot of people in Western Canada that listen to that show that weren't just from Calgary. They were also from Saskatchewan. And then these guys would be out working the fields and so on. They wanted to get some laughs in with a little bit of the sports. So what you want to do is be an entertaining guy, and hopefully you have the chops to actually do that. And then on the other side, you call someone who can explain all those things better than I can, better than any probably morning guy can, because there's a reason why they're a morning guy, because they were probably, for the most part, in broadcast and maybe not a great athlete. Look, my background is weird. It's different. I played at a very high level of sports, but I also started doing stand-up when I was in grade 12. Freak and weird. I was a goalie and a drummer. All the weird stuff that goes into this brain where I hear the voices. I'm sitting there looking at a football game. All of a sudden, I hear Peyton Manning going, what he should have done. What he should have done was you got to pull that back. You got to make them read into when you're going to play action pass. You don't just run with it, dummy. That's not RPO. This is what goes on in his head. This is what I have going on. Bob Cole,
I get it.
All kinds of stuff is going on there.
I don't even think it's weird.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now.
So this was my weekend, by the way. This is why I'm so happy. I've bought goalie equipment from Canadian Tire, street hockey gear.
The one question I have, were you playing with a rubber puck at least?
No, of course not.
You had street hockey pads on and no protection other than
I wasn't even wearing a can.
How about that?
And I went, stack my pads. I'm like, whoa, I got nothing on down here. I never thought that I would be leaving my pins. Seriously.
Wow.
And no mask.
Talk about putting them on the table.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Brand new week. It's on Monday. If my math is right, it's episode number 1109. That's 1109 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. Here on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live. I'm here in South Florida, as you can see. Steamy day, but a beautiful one. And a game day for both the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Moose is in the Toronto studio, I believe. I've just been trying to follow his social media. Haven't really been able to talk to him. Where are you at, Moose? What's up? What's going on in your life? I guess we'll do it here.
Yeah, I'm back in the Toronto studio, and why not, right? I think the viewers love hearing these conversations, but no, got back in yesterday, and good to see you.
All right, awesome. And what do we got for guests today, Clark? What's happening? We've got Tori Gurley for sure, Packers and Browns alum. Who else is coming on today? Okay, that's it, everybody. Tori Gurley will be with us in, is that hour 2 or 1? Hour 2, Tori Gurley will be joining us. So, I'll tell you that the text line's open. It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing, 902-518-3033. That's 902-518-3033. And Director Jordan, if you don't mind, can you please hit the quick sit show horn? Thank you. I open up the text line, and they don't ever listen, Darren. You understand that they're a little like children, I guess. Or bad children, because good children listen, but bad children don't. I don't have the phone on over the weekend, so I tune it on, and here's all these angry Flames fans writing in for what happened. Patience, we'll get to that in a moment. But number one, we're going to open with a World Series. The Arizona Diamondbacks host the Texas Rangers tonight in Game 3 of the World Series with the matchup tied at 1 game each. 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer gets the start for the Rangers against Diamondbacks rookie pitcher Brandon Pfaadt. Scherzer's dealing with a cut on his pitching thumb that developed when he returned October 18th from a 5-week layoff caused by a strained muscle in his right shoulder. I'm not laughing at the fact that they're holding him together with spit and elastic bands. I'm laughing at what I told you about there's just too much going on. I went to the Kraken Panthers game Saturday night, and the guy that I was sitting beside in the press box was like, "Did you watch Game 1 of the World Series last night?" I said, "No, I was watching the Blackhawks and Connor Bedard play at Vegas. I can't. And then, no, I wasn't watching Game 1 of the World Series. And by the way, Game 2's tonight. We're at the hockey game. And then yesterday, I'm in the suite at the Dolphins game, and I was with a Leafs fan, and two Leaf fans, actually. And Darren, they were like, they said that the Leafs lost in Nashville last night. What'd you think about that? I'm like, they did? I wasn't even paying attention because I have my mind focused on what I'm focused on. So World Series, it ain't even, to me, registering. There's too much else going on. But what about you?
Yeah, I'm a little the same because, as you know, working on the weekend, my attention was hyper-focused on what I was doing. So very similar.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I couldn't go too many places without people talking about it, which I thought was cool. We had the poll last week. It was on in the sports bars. It was on in the hotels. It was on in the restaurants, and people were talking about it. And actually, Leanne and I went for breakfast yesterday when she picked me up from the airport in the morning. We went straight for breakfast, and an older gentleman was sitting by himself. And when he got up, he saw my Tennessee Titans hat, sparked up a conversation about football, and it quickly went to, "Did you see the World Series? Wow, it's been great. 2 games." So everybody's talking about it, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I want to see the ratings. Clearly, I'm out of touch. I get that, but I also know that I think I'm too old to get in touch. So you just tell me at some point what the ratings are, because there used to be a column in the Globe and Mail. William Houston's weekly column, the Globe and Mail, had all the television ratings in there. I don't even know where to get them now. In both America and Canada, I'm following the World Series to the degree of what the scores are. I know that it's 1-1 going into Game 3 tonight. But, to me, it's just literally, it's just too much. Because what's going on in my world is this, as we move to point 2, the Edmonton Oilers snapped a 4-game losing streak on Sunday with a 5-2 win over the Calgary Flames in the NHL Heritage Classic outdoor game at Commonwealth Stadium. Vincent Desharnais, Evander Kane, Evan Bouchard, Zach Hyman, and Brett Kulak all scored for the now 2-5-1 Oilers. As for the Flames, they've lost 5 in a row. And who scored for them last night? A.J. Greer and Nazem Kadri. Let's spend a minute on that, because that's what I'm watching. And I don't owe the Flames anything. They were great to me all summer, sending their people down as we did the show from the casino and so forth. If I had to pick between the Flames and the Oilers, I would pick the Flames. And I don't know how much of the game you watched last night, but it was, to me, they looked largely disinterested for about a half the game, the first half of the game. I'm not joking. And most of Canada, I'm sure, watched it. Again, I'd love to see the ratings. The Sunday night NFL game, to me, was a mere rumor. The Bears and whoever else, there were Chargers, because I was all in on this hockey game. And Darren, I'm watching our friends at the Barn Burner, and it's not that those guys are all wrong. They're very upset in Calgary. And I wonder what your take is on this. I know I've seen the numbers in our ratings in Alberta. We're very big in the province of Alberta. Split 50-50 almost between Oilers and Flames fans. But I saw our guy Boomer on the Barn Burners saying, if you're Ryan Huska, you're thinking, what did I get into? This is the new head coach of the Flames. I didn't sign up for this. And I feel that they're not even 10 games into the season, but that you can't tell the media that. You can't tell the Flames fans that. They're paying good money. It's not like they're going to boycott the team, by the way. They're going to nearly sell out every game. But I have more, but I just wonder how you feel about how that game went. And I'm watching the TNT/TBS broadcast, and Brian Boucher is saying on the panel that this is the kind of game that will turn the season around for the Oilers. And it might, or it might not. And we'll forget in 24 to 48 hours if they lose their next one. That's just analysis now. Just throw stuff out. Doesn't really matter if it sticks or not. But it could be a season-turning win for the Oilers. What was your take on the Heritage Classic?
Yeah, it could be. They did some things well. Like they pushed back in the third period, which hasn't happened throughout most of the season, right? They have, get pushed back when Calgary pushed back, and usually Edmonton would fold. But they pushed back. They also had a better start, which was really key. And when you talk about season-altering wins and how it could change the direction of the Oilers' season, I think a lot of it too is McDavid coming back. I think there was a lot of talk when he first went down. He's going to be out a week or two, and he's going to miss the Heritage Classic. And the Oilers are in trouble. He missed 2 games. He's back in time for the Heritage Classic, which I think was big, and really dictated the way the Oilers played the game. He was fast, moved the puck around, had that great chance, which I thought was a goal early. They didn't really look at it again, but I thought that was big. And because of that, I think that could be a real turning point in the Oilers season.
Yeah, well, and for the Flames, they have to be patient. I don't care what anybody says. You probably don't want to hear that. But the last I checked, you got a new head coach. You've got a new general manager. And this morning on NHL radio, I hear Jeff Merrick. I've never met Jeff Merrick, but, he's held up as this messiah of hockey, that he knows everything. And he said 2 years ago when the Oilers beat the Flames in 5 games in round 2 of the playoffs, it broke the Flames. Don't you feel, guys, that it broke the Flames? This is from Jeff Merrick. And I'm thinking, well, isn't that the shits? Still got to play the games. Like, what? What do you mean it broke the Flames? Daryl Sutter's gone. So's Matthew Tkachuk. So's Johnny Gaudreau. So's half that team. Broke the Flames. So what are you going to do? Stay broken? And hey, maybe they will. Like, I'm recovery coaching a guy that is hung up on something that happened 50 years ago. 50 years ago. Something happened, and today he can't move on from it. So, hey, why even play the games? Like, the negativity sucks, and people really enjoy. Misery loves company, Darren. But how do you feel about, nothing against Jeff Merrick, but it was 2 years ago. I'd like to think it's a different team. It broke the Flames. Maybe it did then. A guy, or is that a reasonable excuse?
I don't know that you can have an excuse for this like that, but the one thing I do see in that is the team hasn't really been the same since, right? They were riding a high that seemed like, and even early in that series, outplaying the Oilers, and you thought, man, the Flames are really good and they're going to go somewhere, and then all of a sudden they lose that series, and the Flames have never been the same since. But you made the changes after last year, like you said, new coach, new GM, some players have moved places. It is going to take some time, and the only way out of it is to be patient, put your head down and go. As Ryan Huska mentioned in the postgame, like, at least they're getting good goaltending. Like, they would be in a tough spot getting outshot like this and outplayed if they didn't have good goaltending. It'd be even worse. So they had a chance last night to stay in that game for a good chunk of it because of goaltending. But be patient. They're just about at the 10 games here. It has to turn at some point, and you have to trust the people that they put in place to get them out of it. But we all, like you've said before, want this instant success and instant turnaround. It won't be instantaneous.
Well, if I'm paying thousands of dollars for tickets, my credit card bill wants instant payment. So I have no problem with the fact that the fans want instant results. But what I'm telling you is it's not going to be. It wasn't going to be an overnight success with the change of Ryan Huska and Craig Conroy. Even Serena and I were talking about it, and obviously she's very excited as the Oilers fan. But she's like, you think it's just going to change? Those players are scarred in Calgary. They're scarred. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. But there probably does need to be a period for healing there. It was not going to happen overnight. So anyways, and you say to sit through it, and I'll take it one step further and say you need to trust your leaders that they're going to find the way out of this, and that is Ryan Huska and Craig Conroy, and just stop there because the guys higher than them and around them haven't changed. So an interesting poll question we came up with today, it's brought to you by Key Auto Group, is after having watched all of the excitement of the 20th anniversary NHL Heritage Classic on Sunday night on Sportsnet and TBS, have you ever attended or would you like to attend an NHL Heritage Classic or Winter Classic? Very interesting result of the vote so far. 51% saying yes, they either have gone or would like to go. 49% saying they've never gone or don't want to go. And to be honest, until I attended the one at Mosaic Stadium in 2019 between the Jets and Flames, you could have put me down as not that big a deal. But I had a friend with the Jets they were playing Calgary that day, and he said, no, it's not just a hockey game. You got to go. It's like the Super Bowl. Oh, okay. We went. He was right. It was amazing. So, Darren, I'm only going to put me down as a yes. I'm going to put you down as a yes because I know that you went. Other NHL stuff from Sunday as we look at the leftovers. Tom Wilson's goal to 15-15 of the third period snapped a 1-1 tie and lifted the Washington Capitals to a 3-1 victory over the San Jose Sharks. Alex Ovechkin had 2 assists for the Caps. In New Jersey, Jesper Bratt had 2 goals and a helper as the Devils edged visiting Minnesota 4-3. And goalie Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen made 23 saves as the Buffalo Sabres blanked the Colorado Avalanche 4-0. Got a couple minutes for NFL here. Russell Wilson threw 3 touchdown passes. Justin Simmons had 2 of Denver's 5 takeaways, and the Broncos upset Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday, 24-29. Geno Smith threw a 9-yard touchdown pass to Jackson Smith and Jigba with 38 seconds to go, and the Seahawks rallied for a 24-20 victory over Cleveland. That pulls the Seahawks into a tie with the 49ers, who lost on Sunday to the Bengals for first in the NFC West. But, Darren, would you not agree, aside from your Titans game there, the story of Sunday was the injuries? Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Kenny Pickett, and Tyrod Taylor were the latest NFL quarterbacks to go down with injuries. Vikings saying they fear it's Achilles tendon tear for Cousins. That's my leftovers from Week 8. How about you?
Oh, boy, that's really tough. And Kirk Cousins is the worst of them all because he had pulled the Vikings right out of the sewer, back to 500, and in a spot where they're going to win some games and challenge and maybe get into the playoffs in the NFC. They need to find a quarterback now or write the season off. So they're going to be busy because the trade deadline is here. That's a big storyline. That one's really tough. And the quarterbacks, like we've gone through a stretch not that long ago where the quarterbacks weren't getting hurt. And as we know, when the starting quarterbacks are playing, the ratings are up. When they switch to the backups, the ratings go down. It's just a matter of what the numbers are. And teams stop getting the opportunities to play in prime time. They stop getting talked about throughout the week on the network commentary shows and sports talk. You need your starters. So if they don't replace Kirk Cousins, probably going to stop talking about Minnesota. We're probably not going to watch their games anymore. And they're a pretty good football team outside of him. So it's a tough spot the NFL's in this season.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot more NFL when we come back in the next segment. It's just Darren and I for all of hour one, which, by the way, is fine. I mean, I watch Pardon the Interruption. I tell you that every day. It's just those 2 guys on there. They don't bring on guests. No, it is only 30 minutes. I understand that. But with the show that Serena and I have started, the Cats and Bolts podcast, the highest numbers that we have and the best reaction we have is when it's just me and her. Although, interestingly enough, Jeff Chikrin will be our guest in studio this week on that podcast. But I got a whole lot to get to that I haven't got to yet after having spent the day with Ken Austin's agent Sunday at the Dolphins game. More on Saturday night's Kraken Panthers game, which incidentally seems like old news now as the Panthers and Lightning are playing again tonight. But we got a lot to get to. And Tori Gurley coming up in hour 2. We'll be right back. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues on a Monday, cracking the lid on a brand new week. And a lot of audience participation here. Beautiful day in South Florida, as you can see. And Moose is back in Tirana. Poll question for Key Auto Group is, have you been to an outdoor game, or would you like to go to an outdoor game? I got to get this comment in from Johnny Ohm. He says, put me on the list of wanting to go to an NHL outdoor game if I can wear shorts and a goofy hat. Also a tea time the next day. Florida or California, are you listening? Well, there was talk of Arizona actually doing an outdoor game, but that's why I got to get over, it's not scars, but I got to get over my past history and just being around the types of people that are owners. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do this. You know those people, Darren. They're not just sports owners. But when I was in Arizona hanging around the Coyotes, they're like, we're going to host the World Juniors, and we're going to have an outdoor game, and we're going to do this. Next day, Coyotes sold. None of it happened. So I'd like to see an outdoor game here in Florida, but I just don't put a lot of stock in what owners say, unfortunately, but they're not all the same. From Back the Bombers, watching in Winnipeg, says the NFL is terrible enough to watch with elite quarterbacking, but average quarterbacking makes it literally impossible to watch. From Jackie, watching on YouTube, says, I love Pardon the Interruption. Randy from Winnipeg says, PTI, pardon the interruption, has guests sometimes. I love it too, and I very rarely ever see guests on there. And I'm going to keep on trucking other than to read this. I knew that there would be some talk, a lot of talk about the outdoor game. Rick writes in from Martinsville, and he says, the outdoor game 2019 in Regina, coldest I've ever been. Where are you from, bro? Ecuador? It was -2. Like the title of my next book, I Was There. Darren, you were there, right? I know we weren't there together, but you were there, right?
Wasn't that cold. I mean, being in those games, I get it. When you're outside for a long period of time, it doesn't have to be that cold for you to be cold. But I thought the game last night looked really good, under the lights. And I wasn't there, obviously, but it looked really cool. The way the lights were on the ice and the way the game looked and the ice and the temperatures. To me, more than any other outdoor game that I've seen, it really gave me a feel that they were playing on the outdoor ice. I don't know why, if it was the way the lights in Commonwealth were shining on the ice or what, but it felt like we were back at the outdoor rink, where you and I played hockey in Regina that day in the afternoon, or in any of these other outdoor rinks we've played all across the country.
Yeah.
It felt like that more than others. The other years, I feel like it feels like a National Hockey League ice surface in a football field. This felt really old school to me for some reason.
They did a really nice job of everything that you're saying. We're watching it thinking that ice looks smaller than normal, and it looks darker, which would lend to the pond idea of it. Every part of it was great, but it wasn't that cold in Regina. Again, bro, I was there. It was -2 Celsius, 33 Fahrenheit-ish. John is watching in Oshawa, Ontario, and he writes in on Game Plus TV, 902-518-3033. He says, any response to end the woke on Babcock, Edmonton, Calgary? You need a coach to make you a winner. Babcock's right in front of you. They're not. No. John, what's in your coffee, bro? Babcock's never coaching again. The Flames and Oilers aren't changing their coaches. Did he wake up on the wrong side of the bed? What do you think?
It's not, yeah. And that's not wokeness or anything like that. It's just not happening. It's just not happening.
Speaking of Oshawa, I went to the Dolphins game. I haven't even talked about this. It's a blur so far. It's the one Dolphins game of the year. Well, go to, for those that haven't watched, go to our show Instagram, at The Rod Pedersen Show. I documented it all on there. I go to one Dolphins game a year for a variety of reasons, and I go with friends. And one is that, well, it's Gil Scott. He doesn't mind. An agent. He represents Dolphins players, NHL coaches, other NFL players. And our friend Craig as well. He's very well-to-do Ontario businessman who lives in Missouri. And we went to the Dolphins hotel beforehand. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, so I was right ensconced in the Dolphins. And I got to be careful because being given that kind of access to any team, let alone an NFL team, is a privilege. But we ended up in a suite at the game, which, as everybody knows, I paid. But Chris Sanford, my buddy Chris Sanford, we went for lunch on Saturday. He's like, so tell me about this suite, and you had to pay for the ticket. What's all that? He was explaining it all on Saturday. And Darren, can you imagine? This was 50% off. Let's just say $500 tickets is what I paid. All the soda, pretzels, and popcorn you can consume. Does that sound like something you might be interested in? Is that a deal you would take? You get to watch the game in a suite, and then all the pop, soda, popcorn, and pretzel. Would you take that deal? Because I'm sitting there looking around with Gil going, I said, I'll only pay to hang out with you. I would never pay full price for these tickets. Would you?
Not regularly. I mean, once in a while. Yeah, it depends who you're hanging out with. And I mean, the popcorn, pretzels, and pop, and that's nice. I mean, if you're paying to get in there, that's pretty great. But I did that at a Jays game. They have just with me for a second. They got a bucket. You can buy a bag of popcorn for like $8, or you can buy a plastic bucket for like $15. And with the plastic bucket, you can take it and get it refilled and skip the line as many times as you want during the game. I'm like, what a deal. Of course I'm going to crush 3, 4, 5 of these buckets of popcorn. No problem. But that stadium popcorn's so salty that chaps your lips, you really only eat one bucket anyways. So it's not that great of a deal. But
well,
I bet
the
you
whole
it's
idea, yeah. I'm sorry. Great story. But I mean, and Craig said, he's like, I don't want to be down with all the drunks. And you see other videos of all the fights in the other NFL stadiums. And I'm like, yes, but, and Craig lived in Florida here for quite some time. You don't see fights here. If anything, you see people smooching. Everybody's happy here. Everybody's in a good mood here. I've said it a million times. Other stadiums, yeah. Vegas, Washington, but not here. But it's a lot of money. And then one thing, I'm in the bathroom between the third and fourth quarter, and there's this guy with his head on the wall trying to, and I'm like, I sure miss being like that, which I was. I'm not saying I'm any better. I'm just saying I'm glad I'm not anymore. So glad that I do not consume alcohol anymore. And it wasn't some young kid. It was a guy about my age. Anyways, and so before I flip this around, it is a good segue here. Gil is the agent for Kent Austin, who is the current offensive coordinator at Auburn. Kent is very happy professionally. He's very happy personally. And we didn't even get into the stadium. I turned to Gil as we were walking, and I said, what are the chances of Ken Austin returning to Saskatchewan to coach the Rough Riders? And Gil says, 0. He goes, and it's only because he wants complete control. There's a general manager there now. So unless he had complete control as coach and GM, Kent would not be interested. So because Saskatchewan went and extended their general manager for 3 more years, it will preclude you getting Ken Austin. The idea that I got was he'd look at it, but not under the current situation. Do you have a take on that before we talk about the actual games?
No, it makes sense. Coaches like Kent who have ample opportunity and are in good spots, you only want to go somewhere that's going to be a good fit in a good situation. And the I don't want to say older you get, but the more experience you have, the more success that you have, the better position you're in, the more comfortable you are, the more opportunity you have to make decisions based on things that you want. Young head coaches, and let's take Henry Burris, for example, who wants to be a head coach and run a program. He might not be able to say, I need to be in exactly every situation that I want. If I want to be a head coach, I might have to take the opportunity that's presented to me. Kent's not in that spot, right? He can pick and choose. He can be a little choosy, and I don't blame him.
Yes. Yeah, so Allie checking in from Texarkana regarding our poll question. Have you ever been or would you like to go to an NHL Heritage Classic or Winter Classic? Allie writes in and says, 2020 Winter Classic was legit the best thing I've ever done in my life. You gotta go. You gotta go. It's like Dick's Sporting Goods. You gotta go. I remember watching that Winter Classic, and she says it was in Dallas. It was at the Cotton Bowl. And my dad, having worked with that team for 26 years, oh, man, I was talking about it with my brothers, and we were like, this is the exact thing would have been right down the old guy's alley. And maybe you remember me, you and I were around each other at that time. I'm like, maybe we could have taken him down there. For that, because it was on the panel, Eddie Belfour and Craig Ludwig before the game and blah, blah, blah. Which reminds me, Craig turned to me in the suite yesterday, and he's like, your dad was with the Stars? And I said, does he know Joe Nieuwendyk? And I said, very well. They won a Stanley Cup together. He goes, Joe's from where I'm from. And Craig Jeffrey turned to me and said, so you're going to tell me that you take the CFL game and the NFL game, and you would rather take the CFL game? I said, 10 times out of 10. Yes, for a variety of reasons. Yes, the caliber of athlete isn't totally the same, but the game itself is more exciting. They throw way more. The odds are there. It's a more intimate league. Yes, Craig, I will take the CFL over the NFL as a game to watch. Yes. And speaking of that, Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hi, Rod. For the first time in 150 years, the Argonauts went undefeated against East Division opponents. How about that? Thank you, Kirk. This guy should be the PR guy for the Argos. Problem is they already have one, Hoagie. But the story going into the CFL playoffs, number one story, Darren, unless you've identified another one, is that the Toronto Argonauts went 16-2. Never mind this, they never lost in their division. They went 16-2. And as Jim Barker said on this show on Friday, no CFL team has ever won 16 games and also the Grey Cup. It's never happened. To me, that's what I'm watching for the most in these CFL playoffs. Is there? I'm not saying it's the only story. What I'm saying is it's the biggest story.
A lot of pressure on the Toronto Argonauts then all of a sudden, right? I mean, that is pretty
they're
big.
okay with that.
See if they can, right, to see if they can back this up now in the playoffs and get to the big dance and overcome it. That's a big story to see if they can repeat this because, the slate is now clean. Everybody's, 0-0 now as we move to the playoffs. So fun to watch.
I have said, where was I? Somebody asked me for a prediction the other day on the air. I said, I might as well stick. Yeah, it was in Ottawa. I was on the radio there. Said, I'll stick with Hamilton, Calgary. I said it going into the season. They've both made the playoffs. They're the hottest teams going into the playoffs. So I'll say Hamilton, Calgary, Grey Cup. You?
Toronto, Winnipeg, and that's not going on a limb, but I said when we talked about most intriguing matchup, for me, that was it. Winnipeg was so mad at Toronto for not starting Chad Kelly in that game. They want to get another crack at him. Toronto wants to prove that last year wasn't a fluke, so I'd like to see that again.
Brian in Hudson Bay, Sask writes in the Moose capital. He says, happy Monday, guys. My Viking season is over, and I'm ticked off big time. All the Vikings fans who are cousin haters are going to find out what life is like after Kirk is going to look like. I have a feeling it won't be good. Oh, every fan base can speak to that. Be careful what you wish for. Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in and he says, Jets welcoming their former captain to Winnipeg tonight. Can't wait to see the video package. Yes. He returns with the New York Rangers. That's the game of the night. And Bomber Boy says, smiling Hank for rider coach. Not as crazy as you might think. It's probably not going to happen for a variety of reasons. I was on the phone a lot this weekend, more than I would have liked, obviously around football people, and they think Saskatchewan's general manager won't hire a first-time head coach. He did it last time. He won't do it this time. And that would be Henry Burris. He'd be a first-time head coach. But he might not have a choice because the rumor now is that depending on how the season ends in Hamilton, their offensive coordinator, Scott Milanovich, might get a promotion to head coach of the football team, which would nullify him probably going to Sask. So anyways, when we come back, a sports update and whatever you folks would like to discuss today as we open a brand new week on your favorite daytime sports talk show here on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, welcome back. I'm glad that a few people are in good moods today. Or like that lady at the end of the boat. She is, clearly. And when I say that, Rick in Martinsville writes in, I'm in Florida, as you can see. Moose is in Toronto. Rick, he said the coldest he's ever been is the outdoor game in Regina. And I said, what are you talking about, man? It was -2. He writes back, Darren, he says, LOL, I didn't watch from a suite. Upper deck with 40K wind at -12. Feels like -35. Upper stands, everybody was frozen. Fair. I was in the lower bowl, but imagine if it was colder than -2. Fair. And I'm thinking a lot of what Ali said, where the outdoor game, the Winter Classic in Dallas was the greatest thing she ever did. I'm like, I bet it was. And I'm sitting here thinking, what's the greatest thing I've ever done? I'd have to sit for a while and think, because as George Strait sings, my life's been grand. And it's a long list. I don't know. Can you off the top of your head think of what's the best sports thing you've ever done?
Again, I'm with you. I need a little bit of time on this because, professionally called championships and been part of different championships, and they always feel great and special. You were working. I was a fan for the 2013 Grey Cup, so that's up there. Got to see that with my brother, and then we celebrated afterwards. I was not working in this around the team in the CFL at that point. I still could be just a fan. So probably the 2013 Grey Cup, because everything came together. Got to do that with my brother. Then we got to, go on the town. It was the Riders winning at home. It was all the rest of that. So probably that.
Yeah, fair. Again, I got to think about it. And if I can just eliminate the cold factor and just think about the pure fun factor. But it's also not my fault. I've worked in sports my whole life, in sports media. So I've done, it was work, Yeah. So that, you know what? It was the 2007 Grey Cup. It was, because in 1989 was Saskatchewan. I was still in high school. And I watched it on television. 2007, to be there. Sky Dome. And then to have the opportunity to call the game was just, that was the highlight. Just, and especially the way the game went and all the rest too. That's what it is. So thank you. Thank you. And everybody, hey, well, I got people writing in, which is totally cool. They're saying they're their all-time best sports moments. Just write them in. I won't necessarily talk about them all here because we got a lot to get to. Allie says, by the way, being with 84,000 hockey fans was just so amazing. Yeah, Allie's full of positivity today, and I feel like we could all use that. By the way, for those watching in southern Alberta today, I did cover the Flames earlier, and I don't want to wallow on that misery the rest of the day. You know what I'm saying, Moose? So we covered that. I'm going to continue in the warm-up. Hey, things change, evolve. This is 1,109 shows today. I'm not going to try and race to get the 6 quick show topics in the first segment or even the first 2 segments. If we got to push them over to hour 2, that's fine too. Then we're not so rushed. You know, I don't like being rushed.
Yeah.
And we'll come back to the CFL leftovers. Well, we talked about the Argos winning 16 games. Brady Oliveira hit 2,000 yards combined. I really love that kid for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And then the division semifinals are coming up this next weekend, but we got all week to talk about them. I want to spend a minute on this. And I know a lot of people have opinions. And I didn't spend any time on it in my column, and I should have on Sunday, my 10 Things column at rodpeterson.com. American hockey player Adam Johnson, who appeared in 13 games with the Penguins in 2019 and 2020, died Sunday after his neck was cut by a skate blade during a game in England on Saturday. He was 29 years of age. Johnson played for the Nottingham Panthers in a Challenge Cup game against the Sheffield Steelers when he suffered the skate cut during the second period of the Elite Ice Hockey League game at Sheffield's Utilita Arena. A Minnesota product, Adam Johnson spent 13 games over parts of those seasons with Pittsburgh, and then the 2020-21 season in Sweden with Malmö. He had a goal and 3 assists for the Penguins, so he scored his NHL goal. I can't even tell you the devastation that I felt, the sickening feeling that this happened, because we've seen it happen to a lot of kids, players. I can't think of any others that have died. That is just so beyond unfair. And how do you honor him? I mean, I saw them in the, obviously he played with the Ontario Reign. Do you see they brought his jersey out to the center ice? They made him the first star of their game. It was at Sunday night, and there was plaudits and the Penguins doing their thing. But doesn't bring him back. I mean, he was honored very appropriately, and now it's got everybody talking about what neck guards are appropriate. And, God, I'm just sickened by it. What was your response?
Yeah, it just gets you right, like a gut punch, right, when you see it. We've all been around the game long enough that we've seen scary incidents, and very thankful that, you know, times that we see neck cuts and things like that, or a skate blade go up near somebody's face, especially when players go down in the corner, that it doesn't result in this, you know. But, you know, it's an accident. It's a freak one. It's tragic, and it just sucks. It just sucks, and you feel for his family and his teammates and everybody else.
Randy in Winnipeg writes, and he says, I believe a 16-year-old died the same way. Jackie writes in, says, I can't imagine what his friends and family would be going through. Absolutely heartbreaking. Jay in Vancouver says Clint Malarchuk almost died. And here's the thing with Clint. His name comes up every time this happens, and he's a really good friend of mine. I probably should give him a call, because if you read Clint Malarchuk's book, The Cowboy Goalie, for those that don't know, in the 80s had his throat slit. He lived, but, you know, we've talked about that. His mom was watching the game via satellite television. She's in Calgary. And this will bring back, despite the thousands of hours, and I'm not joking or being conservative on that estimate, of therapy that Clint has had to deal with the PTSD involved, this would bring that back to him, you know. And I saw the discussion over the neck guards, neck collars, and should they be worn at the pro level? And I think, why not? And although I look at it differently now than when I was a teen or in my 20s playing sports, a teen playing hockey, safety is one thing, and you also want to be cool. But I did take look cool. Who wants to wear a visor, man? Only nerds wear full visors. And, the neck protectors as a goalie for shots. I took a slap shot here one time. My throat was freezing. Sorry, my throat was swelling shut from a slap shot I took right there. It was the last time I didn't wear the proper neck protection. You know what I mean? Forget about cool, man. I want to breathe. And there was all this pushback in Junior A last year for the full bubbles. And when we talked about that in the hockey community, people said, well, what's the reason for not wearing full bubbles? Because it doesn't look cool. You're a man if you wear a half visor. Well, guess what? Get over it. And you might have a full set of teeth, too. And the dental bills will go down. So maybe it's time, whatever it takes, to make full neck collars mandatory, because enough's enough. I mean, again, I know how I look at it now, but I also remember how I looked at it then. And safety first is an actual thing. We will be back with more audience takeover and a sports update right after this on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
A quickie, everybody. Here, we're going to jump into a sports update before we bring the Moose back on. Then we'll be out for hour one. Brad Gushu will be looking to bounce back from an opening day loss when he plays New Zealand and the U.S. at the Pan Continental Curling Championship today in Kelowna, BC. Gushu was upset 8-5 Sunday by South Korea. In women's play, Carrie Anerson of Manitoba beat Taiwan 9-2 and lost 10-7 to Japan. Canada plays Australia today. We'll look at this more next hour, but there are 9 games in the NHL tonight, including one in Winnipeg. The 4-3-1 Jets host the Metropolitan Division leading New York Rangers, who are off to a 6-2 start. Elsewhere, the 5-2-1 Montreal Canadiens visit the Pacific Division leading Vegas Golden Knights. And the Arizona Diamondbacks earned a split in the first 2 games of the World Series and will look to take a 2-1 lead tonight when they host the Rangers in Game 3 at Chase Field. Max Scherzer will pitch for the Rangers. Brandon Pfaadt will be on the hill in Phoenix for the D-backs. Sports update is for Common Crown Brewery, where they know the best beer is the one that's earned. Check them out, 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. As we bring the Moose back in for just a couple of minutes in this segment. And I gotta there goes my laundry. Everything's happening. I moved, Darren, the light down a little. I'm not sure if you can tell. Do you use lighting where you are, or you just go by natural light where you're at?
I try and use natural light when I can, for sure. So that's what I'm using right now.
Okay. Well, I moved the light down to right beside and behind the camera, and I've been blinding myself all morning. And I didn't really notice until I went to read that sports update, and I'm like seeing spots. Bang,
yes.
bang, bang.
I know
what I mean? Yeah, so, in the time that we do have left here, do you want to tell the folks what is the Canada West University football landscape as you were in broadcasting a game at Canada's Football Shrine on Saturday? It was the end of the regular season, right?
End of the regular season, so we go to the playoffs. The UBC Thunderbirds got the #1 seed by beating Alberta. So they'll meet Manitoba in one semi on the West Coast, and the Alberta Golden Bears will host the Saskatchewan Huskies in the other conference semifinal, both games on Saturday.
Okay, and you're calling one of them, do you know?
I am going to Vancouver, so I'll be in the West Coast calling that game.
How about that? All right.
How about that?
Johnny Toronto flying to Vancouver. Yeah. From Jackie writes in, on the Adam Johnson thing, he says, I truly believe within my lifetime I will either see the full glass bubble or the full metal cage being mandatory in the NHL. I could see it too. Swerve in Calgary says going helmetless in the NHL. Still a wonder how they didn't get head injuries. Bob Nystrom, Al Secord. Yes and no. I mean, Clark Gillies, our dear beloved Clark Gillies, right? Joe Lazito, the Islanders and Regina Pat's great, never wore a helmet. Well, he actually did right near the end, but he said he only took one hit to the head, and it was friendly fire in his time because back then they all had respect for each other. They didn't go at each other's head. Now, having said that, accidents happen, whether it be in warm-up and you take a puck off the crossbar off the melon or whatever. I get what he's saying, but Clarkie said he only took one shot to the head ever and was from his own teammate by accident in a game. So it's at some point, and I've realized this is why I'm a lot more at peace lately. You can't necessarily stop the flow. It might not be progress. You can't stop momentum. It could be bad momentum, could be good momentum, but you can't stop momentum, so just get the hell out of the way. You know what I mean? You can't stop it as much as you'd like to.
Once it starts moving, it takes a whole lot of force to get that thing turned around the other way.
Your best to just get the hell out of the way. We have Tori Gurley coming up in hour 2, and we'll take a look at tonight's games, NHL, NFL, and CFL playoff talk after this brief pause on Game Plus and Key Radio.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
No. So this was my weekend, by the way. This is why I'm so happy. I bought goalie equipment from Canadian Tire, street hockey gear.
The one question I asked, were you playing with a rubber puck at least?
No, of course not.
You had street hockey pads on and no protection other than
I wasn't even wearing a can.
How about that?
And I went stack my pads. I'm like, whoa, I got nothing on down here. I never thought that I would be leaving my pins. Seriously.
Wow.
And no mask.
Talk about putting them on the table.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
I can tell you now, in response to that, in retrospect, as I listen back, I thought Moose said, were we using a foam puck? No, we were using a full vulcanized rubber puck, and I was playing goal with no can with a bunch of junior players. That was about 3 years ago. And as they say now in Florida, the only ice you'll find is in your drinks. Bottom is up. As we welcome the Moose in, I am in the South Florida studio. Hey, Moose, it might just be me. I'm continuing to see spots. Maybe it has nothing to do with the lighting that I've set up here, and I'm just dazed and confused as we open a brand new week. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. What's up?
That's wildly funny. You know, you're coming off that intro. A hockey puck, right? Vulcanized rubber, right, is what they make a hockey puck out of. But forever, you know, those foam sponge pucks, we always used to call those rubber pucks. We used to call them rubber pucks. And now that you say that, wait, the actual puck's made of rubber, I don't think I've ever actually thought about that until this moment.
Yeah, there's foam and then there's rubber. You're welcome. Thanks for coming to our TED Talk, everybody, about hockey pucks.
How about that?
By the way, as we get into hour 2, the text line's open, 902-518-3033. Darren and I are worldly men. We can speak of a variety of topics. So fire us your questions and comments, if you will. We are on the radio in Atlanta. Shout out Ryan O'Radio. By the way, give him a follow on Facebook. You can watch his show live every day on Facebook, too. I enjoy that. WQEE Radio in Atlanta. Game Plus TV, of course, where we air and everywhere. And streaming on YouTube Live and podcast. Just so whatever you want, folks. You dictate what you'd like. Otherwise, Darren and I could just sit and tell stories. I think it's pretty clear what the game of the night is tonight. Of the 9, in hour 2, we usually turn our attention to that night's games, and Blake Wheeler returns with the Winnipeg Jets tonight. My mind keeps going, Flames, 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 Oilers, Flames, Flames, Flames. So we'll come back on that. The Heritage Classic was very clearly a large success, unless you're a Calgary Flame or a fan of theirs. Edmonton won 5-2 Sunday night. Flames have now lost 5 in a row. Tonight, game of the night, Rangers at Jets, Blake Wheeler's return. But also the Florida Panthers are at Boston. The Tampa Bay Lightning welcome the Seattle Sea Kraken. Carolina's at Philadelphia, Anaheim's at Pittsburgh, Detroit's at the Islanders, Columbus at Dallas, Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks are at Arizona, and Montreal is at Vegas. We could sit and talk about all those games. NFL Monday Night Football, Las Vegas at Detroit. I feel like we summarily put the NFL to bed last hour with Week 8. This will wrap Week 8 on Monday Night Football tonight. And World Series tonight, Game 3, Texas at Arizona, 8:15 first pitch Eastern. The series is 1-1. And in the NBA tonight, the Raptors are home to Portland. Like, the Raptors, sorry to say, are so far off my radar. I can find them I couldn't find them with a sonar. I couldn't, man. The NBA is not on my thing. Allie in Texarkana wants to know what we're dressing up as for Halloween. And I won't obviously be dressing up for Halloween. Are you doing anything, Moose? You're a lot more in the holiday spirit, Halloween spirit.
I know. And to be honest, I'll be real, I don't have anything planned. Not that I haven't been thinking about it, but every year on this show I've done something, so I feel like I would be doing everybody a disservice if I didn't come up with something. And it won't be Ted Lasso again. I won't do something that I've done already. It won't be anything easy. So if you want to suggest a Halloween costume on the text line, I'd be down for some suggestions and some inspiration.
We'll have to post somewhere your photo of you and Ted Lasso this week. Honestly, he just said it. EMJ Marketing brings you our text line, 902-518-3033. EMJ Marketing will find you the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com. Halloween is a wonderful, whatever you call event, night. It's not a holiday.
Yeah.
But, people are really enjoying, if you don't mind me saying, Serena and my podcast, the Cats and Bolts podcast, where we do talk Florida NHL hockey, but we talk about a lot of other things, including Connor Bedard coming here. He's at Tampa Bay with Chicago November 9th and here at Florida on November 12th. It not shocking to you, nobody's talking about it here, which is great. I've had no problem getting tickets for the game. We're taking sponsors. Serena wants to go. The reason I bring that up is if you just put a camera on Serena, it's quite entertaining. It doesn't bother me, and it sure as hell doesn't threaten me. Everybody, I walked into the rink, I think I told you last week, the guys in the press box, Jonah and Eddie, were like, "Where's Serena? Where's Serena?" I'm like, "Oh, wait, I'm here. Does that matter?" It's new for me, but I don't mind. If she becomes this major star, I'll just kick back and I'll be like Colonel Parker and she can be Elvis. I'll just be the one in the background. Let her make all the money.
Yeah.
So the reason I bring all that up is she said there's a new thing here in South Florida called trunk or treat. Stick with me. Has anybody heard of this? Yeah, trunk or treat. What it is, because it's 2023 and you feel like everybody around you is a creep, neighborhoods will go buy a bunch of Halloween candy, put it in the trunk of their car, go to a community center, open the trunk of their car and have kids go around and trick or treat just in the parking lot. And they'll just, reach in the trunk and give them candy. That way, you're eliminating the pedophiles and the mass murderers and everything else. Trunk or treat, which we thought was a good idea, but they did it last Friday. Serena's like, Halloween isn't until Tuesday. When did Halloween become a season? And she's all upset by this now.
Yes. Once again,
probably won't
the perverts ruin it for everybody.
Right? Once again, the perverts ruin it for everybody, yes.
Jeez.
Okay, Allie, it's clearly an American thing. Allie in Texarkana says, yes, trunk or treats are the best. Or is it truck or treat? Either way, I don't know. I won't be partaking. Allie says, I love the chemistry that Rod and Serena have on the podcast. But I'll be honest with you. We argue on there. We don't argue in real life. You've been around us. We don't argue, but we get in front of a camera and we're at each other's throats. I don't get it. And the real sick thing is people really like it. And I could have gone for the kill shot in a recent episode, and I just bit my tongue, as it had to do with Connor Bedard. So yeah, Cats and Bolts podcast. I didn't say it. But her dad's watching, and he does not pick a side. He goes, you're both right. You're both right. Phil's a very smart guy. Figured that out fast. Chad in Lethbridge says, Moose, dress in black with a name tag with the name Life and hand out lemons. I don't understand that. What is that?
When life gives you lemons, is that what he's saying?
Oh, okay.
So I'm life.
If you got to think that much.
Pass. Next.
Yeah. Do better. Jeff the Stamps fan says going door to door was part of the Halloween thrill. Yes, it was. The biggest thing we had to worry about as kids, the rumor was razor blades and the popcorn balls or what have you, which never happened, but that was just the urban myth that it could happen. Mm-hmm. But, oh, man, okay, look, we're trying to stay on sports, I think. But on Saturday, I told you I went for lunch with my guy, Chris Sanford. He was raised 2 blocks from where they filmed the movie The Godfather. So he's like, Roddy, if you ever go watch The Godfather, go watch it again. I was raised 2 blocks from there. That's where I'm from in the Bronx. Chris Sanford. We're sitting there eating a pastrami on rye and a knish. Do you know what a knish is?
No.
No, how would you? You're from Saskatchewan. It's deep fried mashed potatoes. I'm like, this is...
Oh, my God.
Deep fried mashed potatoes. And I said, you have to understand something, Chris. I grew up on a farm in Saskatchewan. It was meat and potatoes every day.
Bingo.
Every day. Which was fine. I didn't know there was anything else out there. Fish? Not a chance. No way. Maybe Captain Highliner, if we were lucky.
Yes. In the cardboard box, Captain Highliner.
That's the extent of our seafood.
Fish sticks. Yeah.
So I just said I said I'm enjoying learning all these new cultures, eating all these new foods, meeting all these new people. I absolutely love it. I really do. And I feel like you're going through the same thing in Toronto. BW in Edmonton says, I got caught up on the Cats and Bolts podcast. Awesome. When's the Tampa Bay alumni coming onto the podcast? We're getting there, bro. Oh, my God. We've had Bill Lindsay. We've had Ed Jovanovski. We've had, this week we're having Jeff Chikrin. If you noticed, we live by Sunrise, not Tampa Bay. And the interesting thing is...
How about that?
People are... Thank you for checking it out. It's like, oh, that's great. Why don't you do this? More. Why can't you just sit back and enjoy what you're watching? Why can't we have this? Oh, man. Where's John Ohm? John... Oh, my God. John Mashed potatoes every day. Rod's rant, LOL. I enjoyed it. Again, I didn't know what else was out there.
Yes.
Jason in Red Deer says, how do we not have deep fried mashed potatoes here yet? Because there's no Jews. I knew one in Regina, and she was transplanted from Southern California. You knew her too. Alex, one of the owners of the pizza restaurant that I owned. Seriously, I knew one.
I know.
One Jewish person.
We would do things because you had potatoes so gosh darn often that you did things like, I got to mix my pork and beans in the potatoes. I'm going to mix my alfagettis in here just to spice it up, right?
And it was delicious every time.
Always.
Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says, cats and bolts, slowly convincing others Tampa is a damn good and crazy hockey market. Well, they sell out every game, so I know you're not being facetious. They sell out every single game. I had a guy write me and go, Rod, we're coming to Florida. Where should we go to watch Bedard, Sunrise or Tampa Bay? And I said, well, you can get tickets in Sunrise for $50. No problem. And in Tampa, they sell out every game. And I think their cheapest ticket is $100, $150. So come on down here. Okay, stop. Okay, Tori Gurley's coming up next. We'll get into the serious sports talk. But Chad in Lethbridge writes in and says, Rod, what's the best food to get at the Finns game? He goes, your meat and potato rant's making me hungry. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that thought this, because I was sitting with Gil and Craig, and Craig didn't want to pay $8 for the hot dog in the suite. We had to pay $8 in a suite we just paid $500 for the tickets for. Craig's like, screw this. Let's go down. They got better food down here. I see Shula Burger Pavilion. I'm like, oh, Don, Shula, this will be amazing. I go and get the burger. I almost tweeted that Don Shula would be embarrassed to have his name on this hamburger. It was literally Costco 24, peel off the white paper, throw it on the grill. Disgusting. $28 for that and fries, the Shula burger. But they've got pulled pork. They've got carving station for roast beef. They got all that. I felt like in the mood for a burger. And it was nothing special. Let's put it this way, the food at the Dolphins game. What are you thinking? Your mind went somewhere.
$28 for the burger and fries, and it wasn't good?
Oh, yeah.
You probably have better food on the tailgate for sure. Well, way better, not close. The food on the tailgate would be better.
Yeah, it was an interesting Sunday in sports, by the way. You see our poll on our Instagram. Who had the best uniforms on Sunday? Oilers outdoor game, Flames outdoor game, Dolphins in what I didn't notice was all that cool, but it was all white, and they were raving about it down here. The Dolphins all whites. I mean, we've been doing it in Dallas for 3 weeks. Not a big deal for us in Dallas. And your Titans. I voted for your Titans for the best unis.
Yeah.
On Sunday. I'm a sucker for baby blue. You put anybody in baby blue.
Yeah.
And I would vote for them. Your Titans aside, who did you think had the best uniforms on Sunday?
Oh, great question. I think, Seattle, right? I like Seattle, what they do. Big fan of theirs. So I'll go there. But the Titans one was awesome with the baby blue. I mean, I don't see much other than that. The Oilers throwback.
The Houston Oilers throwback, yes. Well, I will say this. I was not the biggest fan. Like, I wouldn't have shelled out the money for what the Edmonton Oilers wore Sunday. They've had better jerseys. Literally have paid for other Oilers jerseys. The orange one you've seen with Gretzky on the back, which I got mocked for. Gretzky, that is not era specific. And then you get a picture of what Gretzky wearing it. But I thought the Flames walking into the rink shirtless and the overalls was disturbing. It was disturbing. It was disturbing. Moose, I'm not sure if we'll see you back later or not. Tori Gurley's. Is Tori in? Ready to go? Okay. Our NFL expert, Tori Gurley, joins us next. Get our questions in. Thanks, Moose.
Thank you.
Get all your NFL questions in now. Tori Gurley, Browns and Packers alum, joins us next live on Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Week 8 in the NFL comes to a conclusion tonight. Monday Night Football, Las Vegas Raiders at the Detroit Lions. ESPN's got it, 8:20 kickoff Eastern. But to talk about what went down on Sunday and all things football, we're pleased to welcome our good friend Tori Gurley, Packers and Browns alum, and a few other teams. Hey, Tor, welcome back to the RP Show. It's been too long. What are you laughing at, man? What are you laughing at?
It's been a long time, man. Thanks for having me on, Rod.
Yes, it has been too long. Am I going to see you at the Senior Bowl this year? What's the deal, man? You busy making plans for that or what?
Absolutely, man. Can't wait to see you. It's going to be a great time. And like I said, you were here a couple months ago over the summer, but hopefully we'll get to sit down and have a nice meal and be able to catch up.
Yes, we're due for it. It happened to be last year, the same weekend of the NHL All-Star Game, but we looked at it. It's an 8-hour drive from here. I can't wait to go. Now, what were your takeaways from Week 8 in the NFL? Yours specifically, Tori. What grabbed your attention on Sunday?
The Denver Broncos beating the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, that was shocking. And obviously the Dallas Cowboys handling business against the LA Rams. I mean, those guys, they're looking good, and now, you know, everybody's getting ready for the matchup between the Cowboys and Eagles coming up this week. So it's going to be some pretty good games, and you know, I'm excited to sit back and be a fan and see who wins and who loses.
Trust me, I get it. Now, the thing with the Denver-Kansas City game, the result was shocking, but correct me if I'm wrong, they're saying Patrick Mahomes was sick. I mean, I went to the Dolphins game. I wasn't watching any of the pregame coverage or whatever. Was that a thing going in that Mahomes was sick, or was that just an excuse coming out of the game that why he didn't play that well?
No, well, the word is that his kid was in daycare and the baby got sick, and then you know how it is when you have children and you bring kids home and gets the whole house sick, and it's just something that, you know, my son and I, we caught a virus at the same time, but I felt like I got it worse than him. So, you know, even though these guys are world-class athletes, you know, they still have the same day-to-day problems as, you know, the everyday person. Yeah. So it's pretty cool when, you know, you hear a story like that, because we all can relate to, you know, having a child being sick and the parent end up getting the uglier side of the virus.
I love when the audience comes in with their questions. It makes my job a whole lot easier. So Jamie in Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia writes in, and he says, sorry if I'm beating the same dead horse here, but can you pinpoint the issues in Chicago? The Bears were projected to have a better record than what they have today.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, number one is injuries. You know, like Justin Fields, you know, he's injured, and, you know, they brought in a player from Division II school and from Shepherd. You know, he was starting quarterback last night. And, you know, Chicago is just, you know, they're just disorganized, man. They have a lot of things wrong with them, and hopefully they can get it together, because if not, they'll continue to be, you know, the doormat of the NFL right now.
I got to ask you, you're sitting there so close to Charlotte. Are they not, did they celebrate the win over the Texans or not? Or do they, like, you're in lose now mode for the rest of the year, unless you feel that you finally want to get a win for Bryce Young?
I think that was they're celebrating the win because, number one, the owner, David Tepler, you know, the huge hedge fund billionaire, that's his first win as an owner. You know, and, you know, I'm quite sure he's obviously he's financially invested in it, but emotionally, you know, it feels good to get that piano off his back, you know, to be able to say, hey, we were on the right side, the winning side. And same for Bryce, you know, being the number one overall pick, coming in with all these high expectations, and for him to, you know, to lose 5 or 6 in a row, man, that's great for his morale and lets him know that he's on the right path. But right now, the Panthers, you know, they got a lot of things to fix, but at least, you know, they can fix it knowing that they were able to get a win under their belt.
Hey, I got one for you. As a Packers alum, they've lost 4 in a row. What's your take on, has the Jordan Love experiment failed, A? And B, is your boy Aaron Rodgers going to see the field again this year? Because you see the rumor is that he will.
Yeah, they say you don't appreciate something until it's gone. So, you know, for 30 years, the Packers have had a long run with having stable quarterback play from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. And now, you know, the Packer Nation is experiencing what it's like to be a Lions fan or a Browns fan or a Bears fan, you know, where you struggle to get wins, and it's tough. You know, it's almost an eyesore to watch those guys go out and compete, because it's completely different from what you become accustomed to seeing, with the offense being able to go up and down the field and put up points. And yesterday, I watched the game, and, you know, they struggle, you know, and, you know, Jordan Love, you know, hopefully he figures it out. But if not, you know, this business will move on and they'll find another guy. But, winning is hard, and you can't take these quarterbacks for granted because these guys can make or break a franchise.
John in Winnipeg says, who's going to lead the Vikings now that Cousins is out for the rest of the year?
They're going to have to make a move because the backup they brought in, I mean, this kid seemed like he was a deer in headlights, and he almost gave the game away with a 14-point lead. So I think the trade deadline is tomorrow, and we'll see what they do. But if they stay pat, that lets you know that they might just continue to allow this thing to play out and get rid of Kirk Cousins since he has a pretty big contract, and maybe draft a younger guy and just start from scratch.
Tori, we've never talked about it, but I wonder if you ever had designs on being a general manager. And the reason I ask that is it's one thing to have a talented team to put it together, but it's another to figure out salaries. Like, I'm looking at the Dolphins here yesterday, and I'm watching it with Gil Scott. I think you know Gil. And we're looking at Tyreek Hill. I'm like, why did Kansas City get rid of him? Was he a bad actor? And he's like, they couldn't afford him. They had to pay the quarterback. So now they have this embarrassment of riches here with the Dolphins, but a cheap quarterback for now in Tua, who may end up being the league MVP. But isn't it just, it's all as much how you disseminate your money it is anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the tough part where, you got to, you want to land on draft picks. You got to nail those because it kind of gives you flexibility to go out and splurge. And I'll give you an example, the LA Rams, they did a good job at nailing on draft picks, and they decided to go all in with, attaining Matthew Stafford, and they were able to get him, and it paid off for them. They won a Super Bowl. But now all these contracts have ballooned to where these guys are getting paid huge salaries. And now the Rams look the way they did versus the Cowboys, where, you got Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald, and those guys get paid a healthy salary, and you're playing with a bunch of young players. So that's why it's a huge urgency for a team like the San Francisco 49ers to get it going because, Brock Purdy right now is on a rookie contract deal. Same thing with Tua. Tua is still on his rookie deal. And, these guys' contracts are coming up. And once you pay them that big money, you don't have any flexibility at all with, getting a guy like Tyreek Hill, and another guy contract that's coming up for the Dolphins is Jalen Waddle. So, they have some moves to make, but hopefully they can take advantage of this season because if not, that team, they're going to have to, sell. They're going to have to get rid of players just to create cap space for the quarterback.
Are you thinking Brock Purdy is all that, despite the recent struggles of the 49ers? I mean, they got rid of Jimmy G and Trey Lance. He won the game of survivor there in San Francisco. I guess he's got to be the guy.
Yeah, I say that Kyle Shanahan is amazing at utilizing all his quarterbacks. If it's Brock Purdy or if they need to sit him down and put in Sam Darnold, the guy that's his backup. Kyle Shanahan is great at catering the offense to his quarterback. This guy's been successful. I mean, you can go back to his days with the Houston Texans, and he was a coordinator down there. And, you had guys like Andre Johnson breaking, NFL wide receiver records. And then, Kyle was also in Cleveland where, guys had big seasons, Josh Gordon, Jordan Cameron, tight end was a tight end, all-pro tight end, Pro Bowl. And then what he did in Atlanta, Julio Jones, Roddy White, Matt Ryan, they led him to the Super Bowl. So he's proven when it comes to being able to squeeze all the talent out of the players he have at disposal. But now, they got to get it done because if not, that's something that's going to happen where these contracts are going to balloon on the 49ers, and they're going to have to get rid of all that amazing talent that they currently have on the roster.
Are you missing any of the broadcasting end of this business, or just loving too much the personnel recruiting side of it?
I mean, I still do my hits here and there. It's always great to be on this show. It's the best show in all of North America. So make sure everybody tunes in and check out Rod. But no, it's, whenever I have my time in front of the camera, it's great. But I do love being on this side. We're getting towards the end of the season where we're extending out invites and offers for these guys to play in the game. And, we're going back and forth with NFL personnel, figuring out what players they want to see. And, it's just a great opportunity to be on this side. So it gives me flexibility, it keeps me around Kim and TJ I love it, man. I don't take it for granted at all.
I'm so glad you're so happy. And just remember, Tori, everything happens for a reason, and we're right where we're supposed to be. That's a fact, Jack. Now, how closely are you watching the CFL? How closely are you following it, man? Because it's the hottest time of the year right now.
Yes, it's getting time. It's towards the end of the year where it's time to make a Grey Cup run.
So, any predictions? Like, let's be honest. Apparently, Cody Fajardo is all that, which I told everybody. Hamilton and Calgary are the hottest teams in the league. Toronto's setting records, your old team. What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I'm always going to pull for Toronto because that was my old team, and I'm going to go with them. But I'm a huge fan of Cody Fajardo. Obviously, he was a teammate of mine in Toronto, and so proud of how he's handling business. And, I want to see him get a ring eventually. He's a guy that works extremely hard. And I remember when he was behind Ricky Ray and Trevor Harris. So he was behind Logan Kilgore. So for him to have his own team and to go out and make noise and lead the guys, I'm just extremely proud because I remember when he was just a guy on the back end of the roster waiting for an opportunity. So it's always great to see, guys get rewarded for the hard work that they put in.
It is. Randy in Winnipeg watching, he says, great interview. One of my favorites, Tori Gurley, for your regular guest. I said, yes, he absolutely is. One of our favorites, too. I don't want to end this interview by triggering you.
Okay.
But when you left Toronto, was Jim Barker the GM?
Yes, he was. He was.
That's what I thought.
My GM.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's on here. He's on here every Friday. And last week he brought up, he's like, yeah, in Toronto, we had to get rid of 3 receivers in one day, blah, 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 blah. And I blacked out when he said it. I don't even remember what he said after that because I was so upset. So it's sort of like they had to go. But as I recall, you were kind of caught off guard by that. Are we talking ancient history here? Doesn't matter or what?
Oh, no. No, we definitely could bring it up. So I do have a strong personality, but it was one of those things where it was just between, I would say, Scott Milanovic and the offensive coordinator, Brady. He was those were the guys that I would communicate, and I had a way of words because I'm a competitor, ultimate competitor. But for any teammate or anyone else in the building, I always had the utmost respect for him. Same thing with Jim Barker, respect. But when I was on the field, there were things that I felt we could have done differently because we had a loaded team. When you go back and look at the talent that we had, even though we were rookies, we were really good. I mean, we were super talented, and we had guys that were on the back end of the roster that end up playing on NFL teams. That's how deep we were, and I just hated that. The bottom kind of fell out. But if, it's just like anything in business, you got to throw guys under the bus. And if I was one of those guys they had to throw under the bus because they felt like the season was going in the tank, then so be it. But, the fans know, my teammates know, and there's no ill will. It's just part of the business. And I'm forever grateful to have that opportunity to be an Argonaut because I ended up meeting my wife, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I ended up meeting you, Rod. So, everything happens for a reason, so it's all love.
There you go. I was just saying that earlier. And if that's okay, well, I'm glad that you explained that because when Jim said that, I got triggered the other day because I'm like, you're not telling the whole story. I don't know what the story is, but if you're trying to make Tori look bad, I'm upset. And I'm glad that you explained that. And like you say, it's all
one last
water on the
thing.
bridge.
I got one more thing. Like there was a train ride incident that obviously it was Kevin Elliott, Vidal Hazelton, and myself. And, I was so mad we lost the game that I didn't even get on the train with the team. I got on the plane and flew back to Toronto. Like I was so upset. And, I remember flying back because I didn't want to be on a train for 4 hours. I think we were coming back from Montreal or something like that. I think it was like a 3-hour, 4-hour train ride. And I decided to jump on a plane. And when I went back to my my condo, and I was able to relax. And then I got a call the next day, and I was caught off guard because when I walked in the office, they were like, "Yeah, we got to cut you." And it was just like, "What?" And then that's when I kind of heard about the things that kind of happened on the train ride back home. But I wasn't even on that train ride, or I was literally on a flight, and I was just trying to figure out like how the hell our season really just kind of crumbled like that. I mean, the year before we were in the playoffs, and we went from being a playoff team to just having a bunch of injuries and things that just didn't go our way. But yeah, I was definitely surprised when I got the call saying I was being cut, because it literally came from nowhere. Maybe they could call it conduct detrimental. I didn't get on the plane. I mean, I didn't get on the train with the team, but I just wanted to get back home because I was just, I was hot. But that was it.
Well,
Barker can't say anything else.
You've asked me for some advice on a lot of things, but don't ever ask me how to go about biting my tongue, because I have not figured that one out yet. Nor have you. Yeah. But that's okay. Because we're on the same team. Thanks, Tori. Appreciate you. My best to the family.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
The great Tori Gurley. Locker room neighbor with Aaron Rodgers back in the day. He's got a lot of great information. We'll be right back on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
View Casino. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right, we're back. Or at least I'm back. Do we have a Darren DuPont sighting or nah? Yeah. Okay. It's just me and you, everybody. You asked for it, and we got it. Yes, it's a beautiful day here in South Florida. Game of the night's in Winnipeg, though. Winnipeg Jets home to Blake Wheeler and the New York Rangers. That is by far the game of the night. It's not just about the former captain Wheeler returning to Winnipeg. It's a battle of two really good hockey teams. Winnipeg, just do me a favor, because I know that you've been through a lot of squalor as a fan base, as a city, with regards to your teams. Sit back and enjoy where you're at right now. Winnipeg, the favorite to win the West of the CFL. The Jets at or near the top of the Central Division. Man, really enjoy this game tonight. If and when, though, you lose, please don't run around like you're going to burn the rink down or want to fire everybody. It's on cue, Bomber Boy writes in from Calgary, and he writes in and says, I love story time with RP and his all-star guests. Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about that one for at least the rest of the day, Tori's story of not going home with the team. You have to understand with people like us, because Tori and I are very similar in the way that we think. It would make perfect sense to us at the time. If you want to sit back and really have story time, for the new viewers, 20 seasons Canadian Football League, 20 seasons Western Hockey League, voice of Team Canada at the World Juniors. I've been around a lot of teams. I never heard of a guy not coming back with a team. Coaches, yes. It's not necessarily encouraged. It's largely frowned upon, but the coaches can get away with it from time to time. We had a coach who split from his wife, had a new girlfriend. He wanted to drive back with her. It didn't last long, but for me to not come home with the team, I would never have paid my own money. I'm way too cheap. Way too cheap. My dad made me start working on the farm when I was 12. I had to earn my money, so I wasn't going to blow it on frivolous means, and I still won't. Tori don't care. Urban Meyer, when he was coaching the Jacksonville Jaguars, famously got in a lot of trouble 2 seasons ago when they played up at they were on the road in Ohio, and he stayed and didn't come back with the team. He was fired within a week. When video emerged. But I'll say it again. That's how Tori and I got to be friends. It was about 4 to 5 months after I left the Ryder job, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. It was before this show started. And Tori called me out of the blue. Never met him before. Didn't even recognize the area code. I had to look it up. It was South Carolina. And he said, Rod, you've never met me, but I know you from the CFL, and I want some advice in life. I'm like, why the hell are you asking me? Talked for 2 hours. We've been best friends ever since. God shot. I have to apologize, Liz, watching in Scarborough, Ontario on Game Plus television. She just simply writes in, Don Cherry. That's it. And I have to say, what about him? Were we asking a question, Clark, earlier? Why Don Cherry? I don't know why she would write just Don Cherry. Nah. Can you please elaborate, Liz, in Scarborough, Ontario? Richard in Edmonton writes in and says, what about Mark Trestman for coach of the Riders? You know what? I'll ask Mark. I'll ask him. Because he's down here in South Florida. Maybe we can get him on the air. And maybe he'll talk about it. But for those that weren't watching earlier, if it's any of breaking news, I was with Ken Austin's agent yesterday, Gil Scott. I asked him if Kent would consider leaving Auburn University in the SEC to come run the Saskatchewan Roughriders as coach, and he said 0 chance. Kent would want total control. And because there's a general manager there now who's just signed a 3-year deal, non-starter. I don't know that Mark Trestman would have the same demands. I don't know. But I'll ask Mark when we get off the air. Regarding who had the best outfits on Sunday in sports, Kirk in Toronto says Seahawks, bar none. It's a matter of debate. We're not all going to see things the same way. I had to go look up those Seahawks jerseys. They didn't look a ton away different than the normal. Yeah, that was 80s, 90s era Seahawks. So that was their retro. But Tennessee's were hot. Houston Oilers stuff, and it was the same franchise. Out of the Oilers and the Flames, I got to be honest, I probably like the Flames better. I wasn't really jiving with the Oilers ones, but everybody was going nuts with that. I think the Flames will lose on the outfit debate simply because of what they wore to the rink. I don't know. I was very unnerved by them wearing nothing but overalls to the game. I know that's a me problem, not a them problem. I found it incredibly unnerving. Anyways, when we come back, we will take a look at the sports update for the day in overtime, 4 overtime hockey lanes in Calgary, and wind it up with your thoughts after this pause on the Game Plus TV network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show continues, and only for one more segment. This is Overtime. It's brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And I don't know, judging by their social media, and you can follow them at Overtime Hockey Lanes on Instagram, they are and Facebook, getting very busy over there. So call ahead, where skill and fun collide, an amusement park for hockey enthusiasts. 28th Street Northeast in Calgary, just a slap shot away from the old Crossroads Flea Market. Hey, you Calgary people know how to do this. Head on down to Overtime Hockey Lanes and tell them Rod sent you. Tell them the RP Show sent you. Best things to book ahead, though. Overtime Hockey Lanes presents Overtime here on the RP Show every day. I rang the bell because we got breaking news. Haley Wickenheiser is calling for mandated neck protection at every level of hockey after former NHL player Adam Johnson died from a cut by a skate blade during a game in England on Saturday. Wickenheiser is a four-time Olympic women's hockey gold medalist who completed medical school after her playing career and currently works as an assistant general manager for the Toronto Maple Leafs. She says the risk is far too great not to wear neck protection, even if it doesn't pass the cool factor. Neck guards are not mandatory in the NHL, but the OHL and Q mandate players to wear them. Hockey Canada also requires players registered in minor or women's hockey to wear neck protection. Winnipeg Jets interim head coach Scott Arniel says he expects the NHL to look into the use of increased protection. I'm all for it. Maybe that'll be a good poll question tomorrow, Clarkie. Should neck protection be made mandatory at all levels of hockey? Put me down as a yes right now. Yeah, I remember in the summer sitting around in Calgary, because that's the one thing about Calgary. We talk about hockey every day there. And we were talking about the full face shields and how it's been grandfathered into the Junior A, that if you came into Junior A and you wore a visor, you can still wear a visor till you graduate it. But when you come in as a rookie, you got to wear a full face shield. And somebody said to me, why don't players want to wear a full face shield? I said, because it's not cool. That's it. It's the only reason. You've worn them your whole life, players. And in minor hockey, you're growing up wearing neck protection your whole life, so why don't you wear it in junior and even into the NHL? I think the time is here. My God, I could go on a rant here forever, but everything else, safety's catching up. Why can't we do it in hockey? And unfortunately, Adam Johnson had to lose his life. Maybe that'll be the reason for change, the catalyst for change, because you always try to find some sort of positive out of a tragedy. This is a minuscule silver lining for that, but you don't want to see somebody die in vain. And I think Adam Johnson, I don't know the kid, but I'm sure he'd be happy to know that maybe this would affect change in hockey. Just spitballing here. News from the NFL, New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has been cleared to return to the lineup after missing 3 games with a neck injury. Giants coach Brian Daboll said today that Jones was seen by a spine surgeon on Sunday before the game against the Jets and was cleared to have contact. The coach expects Jones to practice fully on Wednesday. Daniel Jones had been ruled out of the Jets game on Friday, so he was not eligible to play in that 30-10 overtime loss. The 2-6 Giants could have used him, though, since veteran quarterback T-Mobile Tyrod Taylor was forced to leave the game midway through the second quarter after hurting his ribs going to the turf in front of the Jets bench. Practice squad player Tommy DeVito finished up. And that was one of those games, not completely unheard of, but I looked at the stats after. And Chris Sanford, if you're watching right now, my guy Chris Sanford, biggest Giants fan I know, he said that said this is a new low for the Giants franchise. I mean, they only attempted 17 passes in the game, or was it 15? Now, here it is. Official word out of Minnesota. Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins suffered an Achilles tendon tear and will miss the remainder of the season. Man, all of a sudden, this trade deadline got very interesting in the NFL, didn't it? I was looking up the stats, wasn't I? Squirrel. Now it's bothering me. I see we're getting tagged on Twitter. We're getting everything's happening, as Bob Cole would say. Giants stats: 14 passes attempted. That's all in the game. T-Mobile and DeVito, 7 each, and they lost. And they still almost won. They went to overtime. Jim Wagner. Jim Wagner writes in from Balgonie, Sask, and he says, there is unique, and then there's just odd and weird. Calgary and their overalls? Yikes, line crossed, me think. Not everybody has a problem with it, and because I was unnerved, it tells me I'm the one with a problem, because there's a lot of other people that weren't unnerved by the 20 men in overalls and cowboy hats walking into the rink together. Yee. I thought it was weird, but it's clearly a me problem. Maybe that would be a poll question for Tuesday. Did anybody else find it weird that the Calgary Flames walked in, it looking like a fireman's calendar, not a hockey team? Bomber Boy from Calgary writes in, he says, willing to chip in some matching Halloween costumes and visit RP's house as overall-wearing farmer ghouls. Unnerving. Last minute of play. I think that might be today's meme, guys. I found it incredibly unnerving.
How about that?
Is Moose paying attention? Is he around? Again, it's just me. Not casting any dispersions on the Calgary Flames, who, quite frankly, have bigger things to worry about than their outfits. I don't even know when they play again. I assume that they're home this week. They just got back off a long road trip, but they're on now a 5-game losing streak. And slump busters for the Oilers. The Flames were, oh my God. I watch and listen to the Barn Burner all the time. Even last week they said, could it get worse? Oh yeah, if we lose to the Oilers, it gets worse. It got worse. We'll see you tomorrow. Noon Eastern, everybody. Thanks for tagging along today. It's been fun. Thanks to Tori Gurley, too. We'll see you here on Game Plus and WQEE Radio.
Who has more fun than us?